Forget the Grammys, forget the streaming records, and for a second, let's even look past the Kendrick Lamar nuclear fallout. For over a decade, one foul-smelling cloud has hung over the pristine, luxury-drenched legacy of Aubrey Drake Graham. It's the kind of urban legend that doesn't just fade away, it stains. We're talking, of course, about the infamous movie theater incident involving a very intoxicated friend of T.I., a pair of expensive trousers, and a literal stream of disrespect. After 15 years of keeping his head high and his nostrils flared, the boy has finally snapped. In a move that sent shockwaves through the OVO kingdom and beyond, Drake took to the digital trenches of Instagram late last year to finally address the rumor that he was once urinated on by T.I.'s late associate, Terrence "Cap" Beasley. And let's just say, the Six God didn't just deny it, he tried to bury it in the backyard of hip-hop history. The comment heard round the world: the confrontation didn't happen in a high-budget music video or a sit-down with Zane Lowe. No, in true modern Drake fashion, it went down in the comment section. When a Canadian hip-hop publication, We Love Hip Hop, posted a clip rehashing the legend of the 2010 Golden Shower, Drake decided that enough was enough. "No man never pissed on me in life. That story was for the net, cause mans don't have st to say to get their interviews watched." Rolling on the floor laughing, Drake fired back. To understand the weight of this denial, we have to travel back, all the way back to when Drake was still trying to prove he belonged in the room with the heavyweights. Let's set the scene. The year is 2010. Drake is the certified lover boy in training, fresh off Thank Me Later. He's at a private screening for the movie Takers, a heist flick starring the likes of Idris Elba, Paul Walker, and the king of the South himself, T.I. According to the lore that has been whispered in Atlanta strip clubs and New York studios for years, the atmosphere was thick with ego and expensive cologne. Enter Terrence "Cap" Beasley, a childhood friend of T.I. who had reportedly just finished a long stint in the federal system. Word on the street was that Cap was celebrating a bit too hard. He was allegedly so gone on the spirits that he lost his sense of direction. The story goes that Cap, thinking he was standing in front of a urinal rather than a row of velvet theater seats, decided to relieve himself right then and there. And who happened to be in the splash zone? The biggest rising star in the world. For years, the unofficial story was that Drake simply hopped up, yelled "whoa," and the situation was handled internally. The reason this rumor refused to die isn't because of the ick factor, it's because Drake's enemies realized it was the ultimate kryptonite for his suave, untouchable persona. When Meek Mill and Drake went to war over ghostwriting allegations, Meek realized that the reference tracks weren't enough to sink the OVO ship. He needed something personal. On the diss track Wanna Know, Meek says, "You let Tip Homie piss on you in a movie theater, nah, we ain't forget /real nas back in style, this SAT is lit." That line shifted the entire conversation. Suddenly, it wasn't just about whether Drake wrote his own raps, it was about whether he lacked the street backbone to retaliate when someone literally used him as a bathroom. Drake ignored it then, opting instead to dismantle Meek with Back to Back. He won the battle, but the P narrative stayed tucked in the back pocket of every Drake hater, waiting for its next moment. The rumor might have stayed a rumor if T.I. hadn't decided to confirm it in the most casual way possible. On his track, We Did It Big, featuring John Legend, T.I. rapped, "So drunk in L.A., end up pissin' on Drake, st/ft it, that's still my brother since back in the trap house." Imagine being Drake. You've done songs with T.I.'s who fancy poppin' bottles. You've shown love to the Grand Hustle camp. And then, the king himself puts your most embarrassing urban legend on a record that's supposed to be a tribute to his fallen friend. It was a move that felt less like a diss and more like a patronizing pat on the head. T.I. later tried to walk it back in interviews, saying it was an accident and not a big deal, but the damage was done. The legend was now fact. Kendrick Lamar, the master of psychological warfare, knew exactly where the old wounds were. On Meet the Grahams, Kendrick leaned into the disrespect angle, instructing Drake's son, Adonis, on how to be a real man. "Never let a man piss on your leg, son / either you die right there or pop that man in the head, son." Kendrick wasn't just talking about a movie theater, he was questioning Drake's entire foundation as a man. He was telling the world that Drake's wealth and fame are built on a lack of self-respect. After the bruising battle with Kendrick, the OVO camp seems to be systematically debunking every narrative that could hinder his longevity. By finally addressing the Pissgate rumor on a Canadian podcast's Instagram, Drake is doing a few things strategically, devaluing the ammo. If he denies it flat out, future diss tracks lose the shame power of that specific line. Appealing to the net, he's framing the story as a fabrication created by people who need interviews watched. It's a classic Drake move, dismissing street drama as internet clout chasing. Taking control of the narrative. For 15 years, the story was told by Meek, T.I., and Kendrick. Now, the final word on the matter, at least according to the OVO ledger, belongs to Drake. As expected, the public reaction has been split right down the middle, with a heavy side of memes. On Twitter/X, the Drizzy Defense Force is out in full power. He finally cleared that trash rumor up. People really believed a drunk man in a movie theater was more credible than the GOAT? One viral post read. Others pointed out that T.I.'s original lyrics were vague and could have been misinterpreted. However, over on Reddit's r/hip-hop heads, the skepticism is loud. The general consensus there seems to be, if it didn't happen, why wait 15 years to say something? Especially after your brother, T.I. literally put it on an album. There's also the question of the dead man's defense. Terrence Cap Beasley tragically passed away in prison in 2019. He isn't here to verify or deny Drake's new statement. In the eyes of some critics, Drake waited until the only person who could truly receipt the incident was no longer around to tell his side. This isn't just about a movie theater aisle anymore. This is a case study in how hip-hop folklore works. In the pre-internet era, a story like this might have stayed a local legend in Atlanta. But in the age of viral diss tracks and 24/7 social media, an oops moment from 2010 can become a defining characteristic of a global superstar's legacy by 2024. But here is where things get really interesting, the kind of twist that only happens in the messy, interconnected world of the music industry. While Drake is busy denying the P incident to preserve his hard image, some industry insiders are whispering a completely different theory. Is it possible that the incident actually did happen, but it wasn't the disrespect we all thought? There have been rumblings for years that the reason Drake stayed silent wasn't out of shame, but out of loyalty. At the time, Drake was a guest in T.I.'s city. T.I. was a mentor figure. If a friend of a mentor has a drunken accident, a professional like Drake might have been told to keep it in the family to avoid making the Grand Hustle camp look sloppy. The real twist? Rumor has it that in the aftermath of that 2010 screening, some very high-level negotiations took place. Some say Drake was compensated for his silence and his soiled trousers with industry favors and connections that helped solidify his early dominance in the South. If that's true, then the P wasn't a sign of weakness, it was the world's most disgusting business deal. As we move deeper into 2026, with Drake rumored to be headlining major festivals and prepping a Back to Basics album, he clearly wants his legacy to be about the music, not the moisture. But as the old saying goes in the rap game, you can wash the clothes, you can buy new ones, and you can even deny the rain, but the internet never forgets a cent. Whether you believe the sixth god or you're still holding on to the golden narrative, one thing is for sure, the boy is tired of being the punchline. He's taking his power back, one Instagram comment at a time. The question is, will the fans let him move on, or is this Pissgate saga destined to be the one stain that just won't come out? Stay tuned, because in this beef, the tea, and everything else, is always overflowing.